Hello, hello.
All
We're going to get
right,
things set up over here.
let's make
Make,
sure we're on Instagram.
yeah, it's not yet. Just waiting for it to go live. There we go. All right. I think we are live over on Instagram. Let me know, Jeremy, when you see us over on LinkedIn and YouTube.
All right, we
Hello
are
to
on
everyone.
Instagram
Yeah.
and on LinkedIn
Okay.
and
Great. Well,
YouTube is coming up.
okay. Great. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to our weekly Career Accelerator Q&A. We're so happy to have you guys here. If this is your first time, welcome. My name is Tiffany. I'm a CEO and career coach, and we focus on really empowering senior and mid-level stage career professionals to accelerate your career, whether that is landing new opportunities, getting promoted faster, making more money, and especially really mastering a lot of the soft skill strategy that creates this incredible success path forward without the guesswork. That's what we're here to do. And I'm paired with Jeremy today on my team, our amazing COO. We just had an incredible event yesterday. So Lauren is very busy right now, who normally joins us in our Wednesday session. So Jeremy's been so kind to step in and help facilitate our live today for you guys. As a reminder, we are streaming across Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube right now. So please do join us from the platform that you feel most comfortable with to ask your questions, because this is your time with us. We want to make sure that we are answering the questions that you have. No such thing as stupid questions here, guys. So please feel free to bring forward any of your career related questions, whether on landing a new opportunity right now and maybe some of the challenges you're going through, or maybe you're dealing with some things in your workplace that you're not quite sure how to handle, but there's probably a better way to go about it. We don't leave any stone unturned here, and we try to get through as many questions as possible. So please don't be shy. Drop them in the chats wherever you are joining us from, and we should be able to see them come up on our end. If you see me looking this way, I'm just looking at our chat coming through from Instagram. And yeah, I just want to say hi to you, Jeremy. How is your day so far?
I'm super excited to be here because yesterday, so for everyone tuning in live here, Tiffany hosted one of two amazing master classes yesterday. It was incredible. We had a record attendance. The session was amazing, and there was an epic surprise. And so, just one thing, I got to plug this. If you were unable to make it to yesterday's masterclass, demand was so high that we decided to host a second one this evening, 8 p.m. Eastern time or 5 p.m. Pacific time. You could still register. I'll share the link in the chat. Please join.
Yeah.
There's some amazing surprises ready and waiting for you. You don't want to miss this.
Yeah.
Maybe Tiffany, do you want to just take a quick 30 seconds to share what we talked about yesterday?
Yeah, for sure. And I can tell you guys, we put together this event. It's our biggest event of the year for a reason, because one, I mean, we are in a pivotal moment of the year right now. It is when hiring decisions are on the rise, advancement decisions are being made, and you need to get ahead of the curve so that you don't miss out on these incredible opportunities. And so our masterclass is really about giving you the exact playbook, the how-to strategies that our clients are using this year, literally this month, this past week, these past few weeks, to land incredible new roles, secure their promotions in record time, and make more money. I think I'm freezing. I'm going to come back a quick second. Hopefully, let me just go ahead and I'm going to fix this again. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to just come back and shut my camera and then come and turn it back on. Give me one quick second. I should be back here in a moment. Okay, there
There
we
we go.
go. Okay,
We're
sorry
good.
about that. Little technical glitch. But all that to say, we really broke down the four factors that are must in your career. Whether you're looking to land a new role, get ahead faster, make more money, just get unstuck, this is what you need. And what was so fun was just how like enlightening it was for those who joined us, realizing, oh my gosh, I've been focusing on all the wrong things up to now, or how things are really coming together. So if you are feeling at a point where you're frustrated, you're stuck, you're lacking clarity, you're like, why are things not moving for me? I guarantee you're going to get your answers in this event, and not just answers, but we're going to actually walk you through all of the how-to strategies with templates, examples, of how you can literally put this into action right now. And as Jeremy mentioned, because we love going big or going home, we brought out an amazing, major surprise for everyone who joined us live. And they, I think, literally like fell off their chair as we were doing that. So you don't want to miss this. We're going to be back here for that session live on at 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight, but you do have to register to join that one. It's not live on LinkedIn. So it's not live on Instagram either or YouTube. Just go ahead and drop your registration details for if you're on LinkedIn or YouTube, you can pull up the link right here that Jeremy shared. And if you are joining us over on Instagram, just comment career and I'll send you the details to join us. You'll be able to register for the 8 p.m. slot tonight, and we can't wait to see you there. But of course, we do want to take any questions that you guys have now tied to career, tied to where you're at, anything that you can get support on. I do think we got a couple of questions ahead of time, Jeremy, that you shared. So maybe we'll start with those as I kind of scroll through over on Instagram, and let me know if there's any that are coming through live on LinkedIn and YouTube as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we usually get a lot of questions that come in through email for those who can't make it live. So I'll walk through a couple of those. We'll always prioritize those that are coming in live. So I got one question from Maria on kind of dealing with a career plateau. So she's asking, Tiffany, I've been doing the same thing for a while. I feel like I'm just coasting. How do I break through this plateau and get people to notice me for bigger opportunities? And this is from Maria by email.
All right. Thanks, Maria, for that question. It's a great one. I mean, if you're feeling that you've hit a plateau in your career, there's likely reasons as to why, but the starting foundation is to uncover what's prompted this, right? For instance, are you feeling a plateau because you've been in a certain organization where you're not feeling motivated by the things you're working on anymore? Whereas maybe last year you were. And so what's changed? What's evolved since that time? Do you feel like maybe you were led to believe a next step was going to happen and you haven't been able to secure that? And that's playing into feeling like you've hit a plateau. Maybe it's something more circumstantial that your priorities have changed, your values have shifted. And so now there's like a misalignment between where you're at and the type of work or impact you want to create. So I'm giving these as a few examples, Maria, but it's so important to do a little bit of that soul searching around like what is bringing up this feel of hitting a plateau. And the reason why I say it is the more you identify the source of what this is, the better you can action it. And I've seen this with a lot of our own clients that have felt that they've hit a plateau. And what we came to realize is they were just not focusing on the right things that would allow them to have the growth opportunities that they wanted. One of our members right now in our program, Hadil, she initially started with us because she was feeling like, there's not as much room for growth in my organization, but I would like to grow there, but I'm feeling like my options are limited. And what we came to uncover was that she was really missing kind of the support system and elevating herself in her organization to uncover opportunities in other departments that she wasn't initially looking at. And now she's just secured her director level promotion within a few short months. So I'm saying it because we don't always see what's possible. And if we look at only what's very tangible in front of us, it could absolutely make you feel like you've hit a plateau or you're not sure what's next because the tangible of what's right here is not what you want it to be. But what we really love helping you do, Maria, is create opportunities for yourself, right? And so when you know what's leading you to feel this way, that's going to prompt the right conversations. That's going to lead you to reinforce certain relationships. That's going to maybe lead you to upskill in a certain area. That's going to lead you to maybe have networking conversations with people who are possibly doing things that you are exploring for yourself and want more information on. So the more that you really focus in on that, the better, because you'll now be able to make a more informed decision, not just as to why you're feeling what you're feeling, but also what actions you can take to fix that situation. And what an important moment to do that, Maria, than right now, right? Like we want to take action. It might feel messy, it might feel uncertain, but just taking that action to get that clarity and help you figure out, why am I feeling this? What can I do to better my situation? What's most important for me right now? Those are really, really key reflections that will by default impact your next career move. So it's a pretty loaded question, I will say, and I would love to get more context from you on that, Maria. So if you are open to it, we would love to chat with you. Feel free, don't be shy. You can definitely book a free call with our team so we can get a better understanding of what's kind of bringing this up for you and get you in the right direction to have a very fulfilling and rewarding career, which you absolutely deserve to have. Jeremy, if you don't mind, maybe just dropping the link so that we have it in our comments over on LinkedIn and YouTube to book that call with us. And if you are joining us over on Instagram, again, great to have you guys here. You can just comment call and I'll send the details that way into your DMs, okay? Great question, Maria. Hopefully, that already gives you a little bit of context of some of those thought starters of what to uncover, how to shift that into action. And I do commend you for bringing this question forward because the first step is recognizing, okay, something needs to change. What that is going to be very different one person to the next. But now you've got the bug of like, okay, something's not jiving and I need to figure out more specifically what that is, where that's prompted from, and what do I want more of moving forward that I don't have yet right now in my life.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. Anything to add on that, Jeremy?
I would just kind of share a bit of a story, Maria. When I was CEO of a company, your career it could be viewed in different seasons. Some seasons will be harder than others, and the key is to focus on the things that you control. So you may not have control on certain elements of your current position, your current employer. So, what's always served me well is trying to do the things that fall within my control, the small actions that I could take in my own life. And one of those is, for example, trying to find wins in your personal life. Working out, going for walks, journaling, being with the people you enjoy, and getting, micro wins in your personal life. And why this is so powerful is you start to build momentum for yourself. And that momentum then starts to feed your confidence, your energy, your optimism. And that actually then translates in the work that you do. It translates in the conversations and the tone that you'll have.
Mm,
People pick up on these very small signals. It may not be apparent to you in this moment, but people will pick up if you're a bit in a funk. So when you start to get some wins under your belt, and again, if you can't do that in your current role, you're stuck for whatever reason, try to do those outside of work. And
mm.
slowly but surely, that momentum will feed into your confidence, and that's really where you could start to play to your strengths. So just a you know personal tip.
Yeah, it's a great one. Thanks for adding that. Again, guys, we are in open Q&A right now, so please don't be shy if you do have any questions that you'd like us to take to help you on. We are streaming across LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, so find the platform that you feel most comfortable joining us on to ask your questions because this is precious time that we can really support you, remove the guesswork, make sure you know what to do and how to do it, and be able to take some great action steps forward in your career. I'm just scrolling here real quick, but I think we could take one of the other questions that you got ahead of time, Jeremy, if that works for
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we're going to come to, um, actually, do you mind if I take this one here?
Let's do it.
Okay, let me just see because I see one from, okay, Amanda, and I think it's a two-parter. So Amanda's joining us over on Instagram. Thanks so much. The question is, hi, I started a new job about a month ago. Congrats. And came in the middle of a huge project that has been in the works for months. I'm overwhelmed, struggling to pick up where the previous person left off, as far as managing others to see that things are keeping moving. I think was the second part. Okay. Yeah, I know that's frustrating, right, Amanda, when you're like kind of just thrown into the thick of it and left to figure out, like, okay, well, who's done what? Where do I need to pick up on? So, one of the really important things to do with this is first and foremost, just set and manage the expectation, right? So, you're coming in, it's been about a month, you've probably discussed where you should be focusing your time and energy with your boss. And if part of that is on this major project, then what you'd likely want to do is ask some very specific questions of what's been done up to this point. Where are kind of the low hanging fruits now where you are expected to take more of an ownership type of role in the project? Who are the other stakeholders that you're working with, and who owns what, so that you're not duplicating efforts, but you're actually taking your part and it's complementing theirs and vice versa. And you probably want to get really clear on what are the milestones that you're working towards? What are the timelines? What are the deadlines? What are the deliverables that you need to do by those moments? And what is your role in that? Like a lot of that overwhelm that you're feeling right now can be totally solved by just having a conversation around those expectations. Because right now you might just be thrown in, picking up the pieces, feeling like, okay, I just got to figure this all out. But yes, part of it is for you to figure out, but what's going to help you figure it out is actually asking the right questions and getting the proper footing so that you don't feel scattered and you don't feel like you're actually working on the wrong things. And your boss will actually see that as a great sign from you, because you're going to come at it and saying, I want to be really successful in this project. I know it's a major one for the department. I came into it already feeling like there's quite a few moving parts. And so I'd love to just clarify a few key things right now to make sure that I'm focusing my energy in the right places, that my level of ownership is very clear, distinct with those that I'm working with on this, and that I've got a good visibility of what kinds of objectives we're working towards. Once I have that information, I'm going to be able to really pick up the pieces and focus my energy best. Right. And just having that conversation, Amanda, is going to be really helpful for you. That way, you're not spinning your wheels and you're not going around and around feeling like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I don't want to make a bad impression with this major project. I'm just a month into my new role, but rather really rise to the occasion. And I say this all the time. I say it so much with our clients because it's been so game changing for them. But like so much can be solved with communication. And a lot of that comes down to either clarifying like process or like people related initiatives in your company. And for this, it's kind of a combination of the two, right? Like the process of how this project is being run, but also the role of you versus other people so that there's not too many hands in the pot. The other thing I would just say, if this is new for you and there's someone who was kind of leading it before, you said, picking up on where the previous person left off. I don't know if that previous person is still there or if they've left or if they're on a different team, but that's also someone that you can possibly reach out to if they are in the organization to just get a sense of like, before they pass the baton over to you, where did they leave off? What were some of their things that were still outstanding that you can now also take the reins on, so that when you do have that conversation with your boss around expectation alignment, you can now focus on the right things in that conversation. So I hope
Mhm.
that helps. I know that can feel a little unsettling, but I see this as like a good moment for you to shine. It's something actually I talk about even in the masterclass that Jeremy was alluding to around one of my own moments in my career at L'Oreal, where I felt very destabilized with like kind of a left field situation that happened. And you could either kind of get stuck in your head and let that get the best of you, or you can rise to the occasion. And I really invite you, Amanda, to rise to the occasion here, have those conversations, align those expectations best. I know for you, Jeremy, because you've also managed some great teams and have seen, changes happening like this or new members coming in with like very big responsibility early on. Would you have any additional guidance for Amanda in this situation of how to like control that overwhelm and get ahead of the situation?
Yeah, so this is a great question, Amanda, and want to share two perspectives. So the first is one of the things that really served me well in accelerating my career to VP level, to the C suite, was fundamentally understanding as a people manager what my boss and what my bosses wanted, somewhat serving as an interpreter.
Mm,
So when you're leading a team, this is by and large one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen people managers make. They fail to understand what the priority, the goal, and the mission really is from the higher ups. Maybe because it wasn't properly communicated, to Tiffany's point, And your job is to serve as an interpreter and really dig deep to understand what really needs to happen or what really needs to be delivered. So, some questions that are really important. And you could do this like you could book a 10 or 15-minute coffee chat with your boss, with your boss's boss, with the former person in that position if they're still in your organization. And really, what you want to do is you want to just get clear on, are we still aligned on this goal? Is the path that the team on still the right one, right? What obstacles have you faced before I joined, right?
Mm,
What are some of the KPIs that we're aiming for? What solutions or ideas have already been discussed? And what are alternative ideas that we could consider? The key here is you want to ask thoughtful questions so that you really interpret what everyone is trying to achieve. And this is by and large the biggest mistake or the biggest kind of fail point, which
mm,
is there's this like kind of gap between what's needed and
yeah.
what's been interpreted. So I would just encourage you to ask as many questions as possible to Tiffany's point.
Yeah, that's great, Jeremy. I'm really glad you were able to drill those down. So, Amanda, let us know if that helps. We're going to keep going. We've got some great questions coming in over on LinkedIn and Instagram. So, I'm going to take this one over from Dr. Katie Goach. Katie, great to have you here. I'm going to bring it right up on screen. It's a wonderful question. What are your thoughts on interviewing for a position that I'm not convinced I'm interested in? Should I continue the process? I know there's different schools of thought on this. I'm lean definitely more towards yes, for this reason, right? Even if this is not the ideal position for you, but it's with an organization that you could be interested in, you don't want to burn a networking connection that can serve you well for other opportunities by just ruling it out altogether. The flip side of that too, Katie, and I've seen this with our own clients, is they've asked me this exact same question and we've encouraged them to see it through. And they ended up being pleasantly surprised by what they learned about the role through going through the motions. So sometimes we might feel like just because of the job posting, sometimes the job posting isn't always very like indicative or it's a little misleading. And then you go in the interview, you're like, oh, well, that's what the role actually is. And like you just have a really good rapport with the person you're talking to. And you're like, oh, well, that's kind of a pleasant surprise, right? And so you won't give yourself the chance to even uncover that without going through the motions. And no one is ever going to handcuff you into taking a role. You'll always have that decision making power. But at least like this, Katie, you're going to put yourself in a situation where you get to make the call. Like if you want to see that through or not. Maybe, yes, if you've gone through two interviews or one interview and you realize, okay, this really isn't the role for me, that's okay. But now you have a little bit more informed decision making to go off of than ruling it out altogether. And if it does come to the point where you want to move away, you're like, you know what, this isn't the role for me, what you can simply do to maintain that contact in good form is say something like, let's say their name is Jeremy. You could say something like, hi, Jeremy. Thank you again so much for the interview that we had together last week. I know you've shared that you'd like me to move on in the next steps of the process, which is very exciting. At the same time, from what I've gathered from our initial conversation, it doesn't feel like this role is the ideal fit for where I'm at in the next phase of my career. I would, of course, love to keep in touch and explore other opportunities that might be a better fit for my skill set and the way that I can contribute value in the organization. And I would love to discuss if that's something that we can dive into a little bit further, right? Either which way, I'm really grateful for your time, and I wish you so much success with finding the right candidate for this role. I want to be respectful of your time and simply wanted to share that sooner than later, right? So like this, you're not leaving on any bad terms. You're not burning a bridge. You're being respectful. You're being upfront, and you're also kind of opening the door for maybe another opportunity that would be better for you. So that's a great way that you can handle it, Katie. Like this, that way you're not ruling things out. You're seeing it through, and then you're making the right judgment call based off the information that you've gathered.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, let us know, Kitty, if that helps. And we'll kind of keep the ball rolling. Great question. We have another one here from Instagram from Permaspera Cadvastra. How do I decline a job from a former employer but preserving the business contact? So, how do I decline a job from a former employer but preserving the business contact? It's actually quite similar to what I just shared with Katie, actually, right? If this is an offer that you're getting from a former employer, and I imagine you obviously don't work there right now, but they clearly want you back and they're putting out an offer. First and foremost is maybe getting clarity of why you're turning down the offer. Like, is it just a matter of negotiating better? Or is it just like an offer that's not at all of interest to you? Kind of a little similar to what Katie was just asking. Let's assume it's an offer that you don't want. You're like, I don't want to go back to that employer. I don't want to be in that space. It wasn't a good spot for me. What you can simply do is let them know that you've kind of moved in a different direction, and that you are very appreciative that they've thought of you and reached out to you for this position. And at this time, it's not the ideal role for where you're at and where you want to grow in this next phase of your career. That said, you are very appreciative for their thinking of you or their support of you, and you're excited to kind of keep in touch to possibly explore different opportunities that would be a better fit, right? And then like that, you maintain that connection, but you're not being disrespectful to them reaching out for this particular role. Okay. It never
Yeah.
hurts, guys, to lead with gratitude. You're probably gathering that with some of these templates that I'm sharing in today's Q&A. So please take note of that when you're coming from a place of appreciation, gratitude, respect of the other person and their time. It never backfires. Like, it's very hard. You'd really have to botch the communication on that for that to
Mhm.
backfire. I have never seen that happen for any of our clients. If anything, it's just opened up new opportunities for them. And we see that happening even just in these last few weeks alone with the wins that our clients are getting, with the roles that they've landed, the interviews they're securing. So please know it's a very effective technique. Okay. And again, for
Mhm.
anyone who is joining and wants to go even deeper on like the things that really matter, that attract you more opportunities, get you promoted faster, help you make more money in the lifetime of your career, please do join us for the final live session of our Career Growth Accelerator Masterclass happening tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Jeremy did share the link over on LinkedIn for you to secure your spot and on YouTube. And if you are joining over on Instagram and you haven't joined our session yesterday, you still can join tonight's session. Just comment career and I'll send you those details. We have so much in store for you. We gave away an amazing surprise to our live attendees and only for our live attendees. And I'm telling you guys, you don't want to miss that. Like, we're not going to be offering that again. So we would love to have you there.
I
Okay.
have two suggestions to add.
Yeah, go for it.
So Katie, if you're still live, and I apologize, I didn't quite get the name of
It was
our.
a bit of a longer Instagram handle. So just
Okay,
for
so
the
I
one
do
that was asking
apologize.
about declining a job offer from a former employer.
So just an additional perspective to keep in mind is you want to always position yourself as someone um, who is top of mind, who reciprocates, and who is a facilitator. So, Katie, for example, or for anyone who wants to decline an offer, if you do know legitimately someone that is stellar that you would vouch for, and you decline an offer, but then kind of deposit something towards them. You basically say, I'm not here. This is not the season for me to join this particular opportunity, but I have someone amazing that I'd love to refer you to. Her name is Tiffany, and you're absolutely going to hit it off. Would you be open to an introduction? And immediately that person, you've just scored such a win in that person. You never know where that person will end up later on in their career, which organization they may be working for, right? So always keep those doors open, and just be that person that rises above, essentially only what's in it for you. Make it what's in it for them, and then they'll just view you in a completely different light.
Mm, I love that. Such a good tip. Give value, right? You have your own network. If you can tap into that and help them find someone else that might be a better fit, Well, you've just made their job a lot easier too, and
Hmm.
that goes a long way. It really, really does. I love that pro tip. Hopefully, you guys took note of that. Okay, we have another great question coming in from Vero Gong. I hope I'm pronouncing that well. Vero, this is for you over on Instagram. How to shift a promotion when you constantly been receiving positive feedback and you're exhausted and you've exhausted the tools in the box to put towards your request. Okay, I think what you're trying to get at here, Vero, if I understand well, is like how do you shift to getting the promotion when you've been getting great feedback and you feel like you've done all the things? So, the first thing I'll say, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but that is a great segue into the masterclass that we've just been hosting yesterday and are hosting tonight, because there's actually four core things that are critical, and I break them down in detail in my masterclass. And to just give you a bit of a sense of what those things are, part of it is a lot around mindset and the way that you're framing these opportunities to open up more support versus less. Another one is actually really building up your personal brand that goes beyond the work. Because what's probably happening here is you're doing great things, Vero, but it's not recognized enough. It's not exposed enough. And the people who are making the decisions about your promotion are not sold. They're not like, this is a home run for Vero. Because if it was, you would have gotten the promotion already, right? And then the third piece is that support system. Okay. This is a multi hierarchy type of support system that you need that builds off of your brand. And when you're pairing those two things together, that's where the magic happens. This is where the right people are in your corner. They are your allies, they are your advocates, and they're supporting you without you even being there. So when those closed door conversations are happening and they're deciding, who do we promote? We've got Vero, we've got Mark, we've got John, we've got Jennifer, whatever it is, you're the one that it's like, you've got to get Vero. I want Vero on my team. She's up for grabs. I want her. I want to work with her. Right.
Hmm.
And that's what's helped me secure 7 promotions in under 10 years in my career and has helped so many of our clients in tripling their rate of promotions in a very short amount of time, getting promoted not just once in a year, getting twice in a year, getting 3 times within a 2 year time span. This is what you need to do that will hone in on what feels like you're doing all the things, but it's not quite happening. The fourth piece that is so critical is your communication. And specifically in this case, I would say when it comes to aligning perception with the way that you're being viewed in reality. And we go into a lot more depth in that in my masterclass. So I would love to have you there, Vero. Just comment career if you haven't had a chance to join, because I'd love to have you join us live tonight. I think there's a clash right now in how you're thinking you're being perceived and how people are actually perceiving your readiness for that next step. Because again, if you are doing all the things and we're playing the right game here, you will have that promotion. The fact that it's not happening tells me there's gaps that are serving as blind spots right now, and we need to fix those gaps together. But it ultimately comes down to those four things. So we're going to make this happen for you, Vero. I love a good challenge. I can tell you, with just the few clients that I have top of mind right now that we've served in the last couple of months who've secured their promotions, feeling very similar to you, getting good feedback, doing amazing work, feeling like they should be at that step, and then just getting one surface level feedback after another as to why it's not happening yet. And then we came in, we got things in a check, and now, the others are laughing because it's like, wow, that's all it took. All I needed was this. And now I'm in my promoted role and feeling really good about it. We want that for you. So I hope that
Hmm.
helps already give you a good guide of like maybe where those gaps are and where that support is lacking, that perception is lacking, because it sounds like you're doing great work, but we haven't gone beyond that to really solidify those other things that actually hold a much bigger weight in the decision making around your promotion. I
Hmm.
empathize so much, Vero. I've gone through this myself. Can tell you the amount of clients that we've helped with this. It's like one of those light bulb moments when you realize, like, oh my gosh, like that's what I've needed to do this whole time. I've been going down path B when I should have been going down path A, or I just missed that one thing. Like that was the one thing that I didn't do or didn't do enough. And now, like, amazing. Things are moving. That's what I want for you. That's what we want for you.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that gives a little bit more clarity. Any
We
thoughts from you, Jeremy, on that? I think we got a few other
Yes.
questions coming through here as
So,
well.
so we got a question from Anjali on LinkedIn, and I want to segue by adding to your answer. So, Anjali, we're going to come to you in just a second. I share this story all the time. And one of the things that makes what our team does very, very different in what we do is that we all come from industry. Okay. We don't come from an HR background. We don't come from a recruitment background. We were in the rooms. I was in the C suite of 3 companies. So I'm going to give you a little perspective of what's actually happening behind the scenes. Okay. This is true for private companies. This is true for startups. And this is true for publicly traded companies, all
Mhm.
3 of which I worked in. And here's what happens. So most professionals, usually around the mid-stage point, okay, they focus on advocating with their bosses and maybe their teams, those 2. That's where the majority of their focus will lie. And I share this story all the time. Here's what's more important. When I was CEO or when I was in those rooms, by virtue of your boss advocating for you, it is a biased opinion. Of course, your boss will advocate for you, and it will always look like it's his or her view only. Here's what you really want. In those meetings, when multiple executives are in the room, you want the other lateral executives to also validate and confirm what your boss is saying. So here's how this plays out. Let's say you report into me and I go into a meeting where I want to talk about how stellar you are. By and large, my opinion is biased. Everyone around the table is going to say Jeremy is biased towards that person. So here's what needs to happen. My colleagues, the other VPs, the other directors, the other C suite need to also jump in and say, oh, no, actually, what Jeremy's saying is 100% on point. She helped me on delivering an analysis on X. And then the CFO is going to say, oh, she's running a tight ship with her P&L. And then the head of revenue is going to say, oh, she's crushing it at trade shows. And once you get multiple people at that level advocating for you, the conversation is just like, okay, consider it done.
Yeah.
Because when you have all of that validation, the senior people, your bosses' bosses, they trust in all of that consensus, all of those opinions. So remember, advocate with other leaders at the same level or higher than your boss.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Angeli's question, thanks for that little
Is
detour,
it this one
is
here I'll pull up?
yeah,
Can
it
I see
should
it
be
as
in the chat.
LinkedIn user? So this one, how to
Yeah, this is
convince.
a great question.
Okay. So the question is how to convince about your leadership skills when you have not had direct managerial role. How to show you are a people person. I have my thoughts on that, Jeremy. I'll start with you first. Why don't you go ahead?
Okay, so a few things. One, you want to show that you're able to listen empathically. What this means is you're able to understand the perspective of the higher ups. This is really important. And how that translates very specifically is whatever you're working on, you need to communicate how it ties in to the business. Will it create value? Will it add revenue? Will it add bottom line EBITDA? Will it deliver the thing that needs to be shared on the next quarterly earnings call, right? Whatever shiny object that is. But the key is to tie in what you do to what matters to them. And this is really, really important.
Mhm.
How do you do that? I mentioned this a little earlier. You want to book coffee chats, informal lunches, even hallway kind of interactions, and ask what's top of mind for you right now, Jeremy? What are you working on? What are some big announcements that we're going to work towards for this earnings call or for Q4, right? Or for Q1, whatever. The next thing that you want to do, leadership is not a title, it's something that you do. Okay, so you don't have to be in a leadership position to demonstrate leadership. And you could do it by doing 3 things. The first, you want to set a clear vision and understanding of what's important. Whether you're a people manager or not, you want to show that you fundamentally understand the vision. Number 2, you want to mobilize people with that vision. Again, Tiffany talks a lot about communication. You want to be able to communicate to your colleagues, even if you don't manage them. You want to get them mobilized. And then three, you want to be able to deliver on all of that with resources that you're able to get buy-in from. Okay. And when you're able to do those three things and tie it back into the business, like how you're going to drive the business, this is going to do one thing. It's going to show that you have perceived readiness to make it to the next level. And here's another secret for everyone listening in. Even the best CEOs are learning on the spot. They don't have all the answers. Okay. So, what's really important is the perception of readiness, not the actual readiness itself. And that's all the things that Tiffany teaches. So, I would encourage you to think about these things, when thinking through this question.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like so much to unpack there, Jeremy, but you nailed it. I mean, yeah, this is a huge focus, even with our clients, of how we support them in transitioning from individual contributor roles into people management roles. But you said something that I just want to echo a lot, which is you don't need to have a certain title to be considered a leader or to have leadership skills. It's through your actions, right? And one of the most important actions to demonstrate this, Anjali, is your ability to lead and inspire other people. And I say this often, but I will go so far to say that it's actually a lot harder to show that you can lead other people that aren't reporting directly into you than to lead a team that reports directly into you, right? If you don't have direct reports and you've been able to mobilize other departments to do what you need them to do, to work with external vendors, right, who do what you need them to do, where you're able to influence lateral departments, senior departments to do what you need them to do, and they don't even report into you, that is leadership because that shows your ability to lead, inspire, and enable those around you to work towards that common vision that Jeremy was just sharing, right? And so start thinking of your work and your roles in that way of what are examples where I've led others by default of what I've been doing, right? Maybe it's even examples of training teams or mentoring others or onboarding new team members. Like there's tons of examples that show that you've got this innate ability in you. And it's just like you just don't have that title yet, but you've done it. You've just done it in a different capacity, right? And so much of that shift into leadership skills is mindset and how you view it and how you articulate and showcase those actions. If you can do that, I mean, you're golden. You know, it's how we've helped quite a few of our own clients move from those individual contributor roles into people manager roles when previously they had gotten that feedback around, like, you know, what if they call me out because I haven't actually managed a team before? I'm like, maybe you haven't managed a team directly before, but look at all the other things that you did that show that you have the skill set to manage a team. And that skill set's even harder and you've nailed that one. So how do we translate that here? That's the type of messaging you want to get across. So hopefully that inspires you to dig back into your own experience and see, okay, how can I actually reframe that for myself? Yeah. Okay, great question. We have another one here from Casual over on Instagram. I'm doing good in career. I have a good rapport in my office, but I feel I lack in expressing my feelings. I somehow feel that I want to work on my communication skills. How can I improve? Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that question forward, Casual, because I say continually that communication is easily the number one skill that will accelerate your career, like across the board. It is such a powerful skill to learn, to master, to continue to practice. It's one of those things that is always on. And in your case, if you're feeling that it's about expressing yourself or maybe advocating for yourself or sharing what you need, you want to pinpoint where are your blockers in communicating effectively. For instance, is it finding the actual words that you need to communicate? Is it getting like your thoughts in order so that when you do communicate, it's clear and succinct and impactful? Is it around just nerves that you're overcoming based off of who you're talking to and not sure how to share more delicate information or challenging information? So you kind of want to identify like what for you is your biggest opportunity when it comes to communication. I will say it's one of the key things that we dive into in my masterclass because it's critical. So, again, if you haven't joined, we do have one last session happening tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Comment career so you can join. You're not going to want to miss this. We have also an amazing surprise for those who join live, and it just made our participants yesterday for our first live session go bonkers with us over in the live reaction in the chat. But all that to say, communication is critical. It's a function of several things, right? Perception, public speaking, how you're leveraging the relationships to articulate messages effectively and knowing your audience, right? But at the heart of it, you want to be able to express yourself, because the risk that runs if you're not doing that is people assume things of you. They assume what you need. They assume what you want. They assume that what you're doing is what you want to do. And maybe that's not the case. Maybe you're like dying inside, being like, I want to do this. And I just don't know how to tell that to my boss because they've got me working on this. And I really want to be working on that. Right. And so I can't tell you how important it is to build that confidence in communicating, being explicit, saying it like it is. I share in my masterclass some great techniques as well of how to have these types of conversations because they're really important of taking control and ensuring that you are not leaving things, to fester or work against you that are slowing down your growth or getting in the way of securing the next steps that you want and getting to that next level. Okay. So, specifically, of how can you improve, it's really going to be dependent on the areas that you want to improve. But I will say probably practicing more public speaking strategies, which we talk about in my masterclass. We give you some really good starting off points to building on that. I would say using communication as a way of expressing what it is that you want, why you want it, and why that's important for you. Doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Using communication to actually build allyship with those that you work with so they also understand how you can support them, but how they can support you in return. These are just a few concrete examples of how communication can help you in improving your presence in your organization, your promotion track in your organizations, and the types of relationships that you're nurturing in your organizations. Yeah.
Those
Okay.
are great.
These are some good questions coming through. You guys are wonderful.
I
I'm going
got
to
one
just
extra
over here.
tip.
Yeah, go for it,
And,
Jeremy.
it- and this is because I've made this mistake not once, many times. Don't overshare. Okay. Whenever in a work setting presenting to higher ups, don't overshare.
Yeah.
That's where you trip up. You share that figure that you're not sure about, that number, that stat, that KPI, because you think it's going to make you look like you know what you're doing. And you've just opened the door to an entire thread that they could potentially pull on. You do not want that to happen. I've made this mistake. And so, what do? I've shared this tip before. When you don't know exactly what to say to a question that puts you on the spot, always, please just say, Jeremy, that's a great question. I know how important it is
Yeah.
for you to know this number to make the decisions that you need to make in your position. I will get those to you by end of day
Hmm.
with accuracy and recency.
Yeah.
Okay. So think of it this way. I often had to report bad news, a bad market, a bad product launch, really bad financials in one quarter or another. And we would report to Wall Street. You need to know how to communicate effectively to deliver bad news. It's easy to lead when you have the wind at your back. It's really, really hard to lead and communicate effectively when you have bad numbers to share. And that's where the best of the best shine. And that's by avoiding over communication, oversharing, excuse me.
Yeah.
You don't want to trip up. Always cover your back by sharing things that you are certain about. So just one last thing, because I don't want to see you make the same mistakes I've made in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great tip. I've made that mistake too. I think so many of us have. And we've got the scars to prove it,
We
So
do.
learn from us so that you don't fall into that same trap. We got a great question here from Salma. I'm going to pull it up here. And again, guys, I
Hey,
think
Salma.
seeing some great responses coming through. If you're joining us over on Instagram and you haven't joined our upcoming masterclass, we have the last session happening tonight. It's a free event. Just comment career. We'll get you those details in your DMs. And if you're joining us over on LinkedIn, Jeremy shared the link a few times, I think, in our chat right now so that you can sign up there. And if you're joining us over on YouTube, you can definitely pull that up as well. But we would love to have you there. Okay, Salma, thank you so much for your question. I'm going to read it out. Thank you for your great conversation. What if a person discovers that he's working in something he's not passionate about? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, first off, it's a good realization when you uncover that this is not something I'm passionate about. I think what's key is not passionate about anymore, right? Because I'm sure at one point there was some level of passion. Maybe that passion was disguised out of, pressure to get into a certain work field or social norms or, parental pressures that we've experienced to like go into a certain field. So maybe it actually was never true self passion, but it's probably getting to a point, Salma, with your question that there's something that's prompted them now of like, this isn't really what I want to do. Similar to some of the answers I shared earlier in today's live of actually uncovering, well, why am I feeling that? Like, why am I not feeling a sense of passion here? Is there like a disconnect with what I really value and what motivates me versus what I'm actually expected to do? That's often what it is, by the way, right? Where maybe for this particular example, this person wants to feel challenged. They want to feel recognized. They want to feel autonomous in their work. And the work they're actually doing is like very tedious and like non-value added and like feels like they're just a cog in a machine. Like that's obviously not going to allow them to feel passionate about what they do because it's not at all hitting on the motivators that drive this person. And so just by taking a moment to really reflect and get that clarity of like, why am I feeling this? What's brought that on? And is this like a now thing or is this like a deeper thing? Because when I say if it's a now thing, that could sometimes be circumstantial. Maybe it's tied to like a certain moment in the company that's going through a really tough time. Or maybe leadership has changed and now the direction is different and they're not supporting the same initiatives they did before. Or maybe you've gotten a new boss that's just like, I do not jive with this person and I'm not feeling passionate about this. So you have to isolate what you're not passionate about. Is it the actual work in the field that you're in? Or is it possibly the organization, a circumstance, something that's come up for you very situationally that's skewing that vision of passion, right? But regardless, I'm just giving these examples for you, Salma, so that you can identify the right, the right it thing that's going to prompt you to be like, okay, this is why I'm feeling this. Now, because I know what that is, what the thing is, now I can better action what I need to do to fix it. Maybe it's changing a department. Maybe it's, as I was just sharing to one of our members over on Instagram, better communicating what I actually want to feel passionate in my work. Maybe my work has gone one direction to another and I feel like I've lost the things that I was really passionate about. And I just got to get back there, right? Maybe it's moving into a different organization altogether that's doing work that's more meaningful for you or makes a bigger impact in your view of what you want. So that's what I mean by doing that kind of reflection as a starting point to then better identify what do you do next to bring back that passion. But you have to take control here because you don't want time to pass you by realizing I just stayed stuck. I allowed myself to kind of let my career take control of me instead of me taking control of my career. Okay. So hopefully that gives you some good guiding points to go off of, whether this is for you or for someone that you know who's just feeling a little bit like a lack of passion in what they do. Right. Any
Hmm.
thoughts from you, Jeremy, on that? I know we're almost at time, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's a big question that I'd love
So,
your thoughts on too.
so one pro tip, Selma, and for everyone listening in, look, it's hard out there. We know. We see it every day. The market is tough. There's countless layoffs, things like this. Here's the thing. When you're For those applying for new jobs, for those of you who are looking for new opportunities, and you're reaching out in the DMs and you're meeting with people over coffee or outright interviews, I guarantee you they could feel if you really are passionate about the company you are applying to. If you don't have that, that inner passion for the mission of the company, the product, the industry, it will be felt,
Mm,
and they will feel that you are forcing yourself through an array of job applications, and it's just that's all it is to you. It's an application, because for them they're thinking, we're going to invest in this person, not just right now, not just for the next quarter. We're going to put in time and effort in this talent. We want to make sure they could grow in our business, especially when our budgets are tight, right? So you really want to show that you're the right person for that role by highlighting the passion you have for that product, that industry, that company. That will get you well beyond everyone else in the application process, beyond just hard skills.
yeah.
Believe me, I would hire people across all of my teams, no matter the company I work for or my own company itself, based on how I felt they felt about this opportunity. I could tell without even asking questions whether this was just to get a job or they wanted to be part of my team or
Yeah.
my company. This is so important.
Yeah.
So, Salma, if you're applying somewhere, apply to places where it resonates with you. And if you're in an existing position, maybe you could find work that feeds that passion, to Tiffany's point. So, just a pro tip for everyone listening in. Um, it is important, and it kind of comes through more than you know.
Yeah. I love that. Hopefully that helps you, Salma. Gives you some good pointers to go off of, whether that's for you or for someone else. Also, we got a few questions over on Instagram around if this is saved. So, yes, we do save these lives right over on my LinkedIn page, guys. So, if you're not already following me over on LinkedIn, please do. I share amazing content every day there, in addition to Instagram as well. And that's also where we save all of our lives, so that you could watch the parts that you might have missed. We also go live twice a week, every Wednesday and Friday, for our weekly Career Accelerator Q&As, because we just want to show up for you guys and give you support. We know there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of career coaches out there. And one thing that we really pride ourselves on, as Jeremy mentioned earlier, is that we come from industry. We've literally been in the shoes that you are in right now, and we've done the things that you need to do, and we know how to do it most effectively. So we want to just cut through that clutter, cut through the guesswork, and tell you what to do and how to do it in a way that's going to get you ahead faster, reach those next levels of your career, and do it on your terms so that you take control in the way that you want. So if that sounds good to you, that's what we're all about. We love having you guys here. Thank you for such amazing questions today. We covered through quite a lot. So this was an amazing session. And for those of you who have already joined our live masterclass yesterday, we are so excited for you and what's coming next. For those who missed the live session and want to join our last live of our biggest event of the year, it's happening tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's called Career Growth Accelerator. Jeremy has dropped the link over in our LinkedIn comments and YouTube. And if you are joining us over on Instagram, just comment career before you hop off the live so that I can send you those details to secure your spot for tonight. So much actionable insight and how to's I'm going to be sharing with you guys later, in addition to an epic surprise that blew our participants' minds yesterday. I'm like still buzzing from the reaction that we got from it. And we're going to be doing it again tonight. But that's it. After that, not
And you have
offering
to be
that
live.
anymore. And you have to be live.
You
This
have
is
to
not
be
for people
live.
who watch the replay. We love rewarding those who show up with us, who commit to your growth and take that, 90 minutes for yourself, 90 minutes that will quite literally not just transform your career, but transform your life. And we can't wait to help you do that. Thank you guys again for being here. We hope you found this helpful. If there's any questions we didn't get to, please be sure to drop them in the comments. send me a DM. If you're really looking for more one on one support to just like do this thing and guarantee your results in a very short amount of time, please go ahead and book a call with us and our team. We'd love to speak with you. You could book the call directly from the link that Jeremy shared, or just right from my LinkedIn page where you go to book an appointment, or on Instagram if you want to just comment call, and I'll share the link with you directly also. All right, guys. We can't wait to see you guys later. It is a Zoom session. That's why you have to register if you haven't already. But again, we'll get those details your way, whether signing up through our link on LinkedIn or commenting career on Instagram, and we'll get those details straight to your DMs. Thanks again, Jeremy, for joining us today, too. Always so fun and dynamic to get your insights and how we're supporting our clients to make some amazing wins happen very quickly. And we can't wait to see you guys back here on Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. All
Thanks
right.
for having me.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.